Welcome back to the Bestie Blend, where our opinions are strong, our coffee is stronger, and our medical histories are apparently trending topics.
I'm Nancy Ann, a survivor of uterus purge of 2026, thank God. Still accepting sympathy cookies and awkward questions, absolutely.
And I'm Jen. Recently just had a PRP injection in my back, which means I'm either healing or secretly plotting to become a bionic bestie. Either way, buckle up. All right, so before we head into this, we're going to do a quick disclosure as we dive into today's topics. We are going to cover some adult health topics and frank medical chat that might be inappropriate for our kids. So if you're listening, discretion is advised, and maybe pop in some headphones if you're near little ears.
All right. Today we're talking about HRT, women's issues that we deal with as we're getting older. We'll share myths, tips, and probably at least one awkward personal story. We have many, because what is podcasting without oversharing, right?
Totally. So one of the things that we always talk about is what are the common complaints as women suffer from going into perimenopause. And we're not talking about full-blown menopause because that's obviously going to be a little bit of a different issue with some. So it's funny when we hear these different, complaints that, oh yeah, that happened to me. So one of the biggest common complaints, and I think this is where I started this HRT journey, is having irregular periods. Like I would never miss my periods. I would have them every single 28 days, which I still do, and I'm 49 years old. But my cycles changed a bit where everything was heavy and the cramping was awful.
Yeah, I feel like as we get older, the pain and the heaviness gets worse. Gets more and more extreme.
Right.
Just more awful.
And then we always hear about those hot flashes and night sweats. Did you get those?
I think that was one of the telling signs for me that I was starting to go through the change were the hot flashes. And that was one of the things that was the weirdest thing for me is I didn't get hot flashes and start to sweat everywhere. I just got them in my head or on my head. So I will sweat and get hot flashes and just get burn up on my scalp.
Oh, that's weird.
It's the weirdest thing. When I wake up in the morning, even when I'm out and I get a hot flash that hits me, it's all just it's on my head, not in my head, but on my head. And my scalp I get drenched. It's the weirdest thing.
I'm sure a doctor would say it's all in your head.
Yeah, absolutely. But actually it's such a weird thing. And I think that it being just my head made it a little bit more of you're not just hot or sweaty. There's really an issue. Maybe you are going through the changes, starting to.
I never had hot flashes. I would just have night sweats, but only during PMS week. So I knew when my period was coming. And it wasn't just a little bit. I'd have to get up and change a shirt because I'd be so drenched. My back of my neck, everything, my arms, and, the creases of your elbows or your whatever above your forearm. Mm-hmm. I'd just get drenched. But then that would be it. It wouldn't be a consistent thing. It would be one or two nights. So I knew my period was coming, even though I know it's every 28 days.
Yeah.
But I never had the hot flashes or have to carry around a fan with me.
Oh my gosh. I swear I should become a spokesperson for fans, right? I carry at least 3 of them in my bag. I'm in Tennessee right now and I have 3 in my bag that I traveled with and I have to put it on my head because if my face and my head starts to that's where my hot flashes start.
That's so weird. But I don't want to say weird, but I guess it's so normal. That's what we should be saying.
But again, that was the sign of oh, maybe I need to start looking into it. And I think that you actually started on HRT before I did. And that's when I started to go through the whole issues with my marriage and everything. And you had made those comments to me about, what you really should think about it and go, talk to your doctor about it. And that's when I did. And it was oh no, you need to be on hormones. My blood work was definitely saying, hello, you definitely need to be on these.
Right. I think another problem I had, sleep problems. Again, only during PMS. And I knew
100%.
I would get up at it was almost 2 o'clock in the morning or even 1 o'clock in the morning. And it would take me forever. And it sucked because I had to be up at 4 o'clock.
Well, and did you suffer from when you would wake up in the middle of the night and just be wide awake?
Yeah.
You couldn't, it wasn't one of those things where you woke up and you had to pee or whatever and go back to bed and fall asleep. I was waking up in the middle of the night and I was awake. I was I need to start my day now because there was nothing could help me go back to sleep and get more rest.
Don't laugh at me, but I would just grab my phone and play Candy Crush because that actually made my eyes tired.
Yeah.
And so I can play that for about 10,
Mhm.
15 minutes, and that would start making me tired. And
Yeah.
then sometimes I could fall right back asleep, and sometimes I couldn't.
Well, during that time for me, I saw a lot of sunrises.
Right? Well, I see them anyways because I'm up at 4.
Yeah, but, like, I would just get up and start my day, get some coffee, and, of course, by the time, 6 or 7 o'clock rolled around, I was exhausted, and that is actually a funny thing for me is that I started napping with starting on HRT and starting to go through perimenopause. I was not a napper at all. I couldn't do it, and now, like, I can go down for 45 minutes, I can go down for 20 minutes, 2 hours. It's almost like I'm needing it during the day,
Well,
which is so weird to me.
I was always a napper, so I can't really say that, I've been on perimenopause the last, like, 20 years, but I did notice that I was more tired faster during the day than
Mhm.
I've ever been. It's like you wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning, or I should say 4, because I am up at 4.
Yeah.
And then by the time I get into work, I'm sitting there and I'm just like, I really want to go back to bed. And that has never been an issue with me at
Yeah.
all. And caffeine doesn't do anything. I just like the taste of coffees.
No,
It's
that's how
nothing
I
that
am.
I'm not, I don't have to use caffeine to keep me up. And I would use pre workout often in the mornings for working out because it would just help me push through the workouts even before I started getting this way.
Yeah.
And even taking that, after I take it, do my workout, I was ready for a nap, and that was
Mhm.
never the case, so it was really frustrating.
Well, it's like our the body is going through those changes. You kinda don't like, something's up, but you don't know exactly what it is. And I know when I went to my doctor after you had told me about our HRT, and I had this conversation about because we were also dealing with my fibroids and all the other stuff that I was dealing with, and he told me this is the craziest thing, but he told me that so many women my age and your age go through this and think it's just that's something normal that they have to go through. They don't even realize that there is help like HRT or medical help or different things that you can go through. They don't even realize it because women just think, "Oh, okay, well, I guess it's just something else we're just going to have to deal with and consider normal."
Well, how many of
When
our parents ever really talked to us about, "Hey, by the way, here are gonna be some of these changes that could potentially happen as you're into your 30s and then you get into your 40s." No one says
right?
anything.
No one does. Also, for those women, like our parents, I mean, our moms and friends who are older, they didn't want to talk about it either. I mean,
Right.
how many, like, I was talking to a friend of mine who's in her 60s, and she told me the first time she went to the doctor's office to try to figure out what was going on with her, he prescribed her an anti-anxiety drug
Well, that was
for
common.
I mean, and that's what they would do. It's like, "Oh, you're crazy." Like, you're like
Yeah, it's just insane, and we'll go into the myths here in a few minutes, but yeah, I don't understand how doctors don't do more research on this as it's coming up.
Mhm.
None of us would ever know if some of our other friends hadn't started this. And that's
Yeah.
how I got into this is because I had a friend who started this and I was like,
Yeah.
interesting.
Well, and you don't have to suffer. You can do things to make it better for you. You don't have to go through those things, and I will tell you that because 'cause you're only on one particular HRT variant, right?
I have
Or are
2.
you on 2?
Yeah, I'll talk about that.
Okay.
Actually 3, 3.
Because I'm on 2 as well. And, I mean, you just depending on how it is, I mean, you can definitely feel better. I know I feel much better.
Oh, 100%. Because I think really when I started to notice it and going, okay, this isn't right. So for those of you that have never met me, I'm a fitness coach, but I also have competed in a few, did 3 bikini competitions and a figure competition. The last one was 3 years ago? No, it's gotta be longer than that. 4? I can't remember now.
Golly geez.
I never did any I literally, it was all natural 100%, and I never took anything that I wasn't supposed to except for one time when I didn't realize what I was taking, and I'm going, "Wait a second, I don't wanna take this." But this was, like, many, many years ago, and
Yeah.
I took it for a week, and then I was like, "Yeah, I can't. It's not what I thought it was."
Mhm.
Because sometimes coaches don't always tell you exactly what you're taking. They're like, "Here,
Yeah.
take this," and you wanna trust them. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't do that anymore. I research everything now.
Yeah, we'll
But
talk about that maybe on a different episode.
right. But when everybody always says, as soon as you come off of a training session or for a competition type style training, your body is tired. You've really screwed up hormones because you're diminishing what you eat. You're not sleeping like
Mhm.
you should because you're just overly tired from all of the training.
Mhm.
And I recovered pretty fast from the bikini competitions, but as I got into that figure, I was a lot older and I noticed that my body wasn't building muscle like it really should be. I was holding on
Mm.
more fat. My lower body was great, but I could not build my upper body. And I was
Mhm.
100% on the diet. And so that was frustrating. And then after that competition, that is when I noticed everything really started to change. The tiredness was worse.
Mhm.
Even months after, when I'm at my normal weight again, it was like I went to bed and would wake up 20 pounds heavier, and I'm not eating any differently. I indulge here and there, but nothing.
Mhm.
I've done this my whole life. And I'm
Yeah.
like, my pants are getting tighter. And I was like, what in the world? Let's see if I starve myself and let's see if that works. I'm kidding. I can do that.
Gosh. Yeah.
That's just the frustrating part. And so
Mhm.
that was, I think for me, that was like, all right, so periods aren't fun anymore. I'm tired. I didn't really get any headaches, which I'm thankful for, but
Mhm.
holy crap, breast tenderness during your period or right
Mm.
after BPMS, I would
Mhm.
have it literally every day except for the week of my period. It was awful. Everything was
Yeah.
swollen and the pain would never go away.
I got the migraines. The migraines were I was susceptible to those earlier in my life, so I think
Yeah.
that being a symptom of one where that's where I bought those ice hats
Yeah.
because what would happen is I'd get a headache or a migraine, which would be debilitating. It's like the only thing that you could do would be able to go to sleep to wake up in the morning feeling better. And then I'd get hot on my head. And so I'd have to put the ice hat on to get rid of the headache and the hot flashes because it would just bring one would bring on the other. You know what I mean?
Yeah. She sent me the link yesterday. Those things look awesome. I think I'm going to have to get one.
Dude, I travel with them. I think my mom has one at her house. I've have two at least in my freezer, but they're just a gel and they just work wonders. But yeah, I think everyone's different. What other kind of symptoms did you start dealing with?
I think that was, you know what? I don't want to say it's sensitivity to alcohol, but goodness, I can't drink at night
Mm,
anymore because that really screws up my sleep.
sure.
Like
100%.
when I was at work the other day, the girls talk about it because all of a sudden,
Mhm.
like you want to enjoy, but I cannot drink. Not that I ever drink a lot, but
Mhm.
I don't like getting tipsy or just about over the
Yeah.
verge of tipsy because then I know I'm not going to sleep.
Next day,
It
it affects your week, it affects
does.
everything.
It's terrible.
Well, like your metabolism slows down like you were talking about. Like I mean, I gained so much weight and that was, could be some other factors as well, but I I suffered from, you know, I I don't want to say joint pain, but like my body just you started getting new aches and pains and issues that I'd never experienced before.
Yeah.
Yeah, the sleep was a hard one. Period was horrible. But now they're coming out with doctors are specifically who are dealing with menopause and perimenopause specifically are coming out with documentaries. They're coming out with speaking engagements and things like that to start talking about it because it's not something that we need to be hiding and trying to like keep it secret. I mean, don't
No.
you think like the whole FDA with taking the warnings off of HRT finally?
Yeah,
I know
that's
people who I know people who are having a hard time getting patches, estrogen patches, because so many people are signing up for those things now that there's now a shortage because everyone wants to be on it. Now
that's
that there's no breast cancer risk.
right. Well, that was one of my myths that I've heard
Yeah.
of. The other thing I noticed is libido. Well, let's just call it sex. That, like, there was no urgency. I don't know if that's a word. There was no mood for it.
Yeah.
I didn't, I tried and it was
Mhm.
hard. And here I am dating somebody new. And I think
Mhm.
it really hit after that last competition because everything was changing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not in the mood. There's something, I shouldn't be this young saying that I'm not in the mood.
Yeah.
And so I just felt terrible because it totally changed that libido. And
Mhm.
think about it, you just feel like it's just something that's you and
It's
not
yeah.
anything
Your
else, right?
body's just changing and that's what's happening.
Yeah.
You're
So I
just
had
not in the
gone,
mood.
right. And so I had gone to the doctors, and again, we'll go into these myths, but I remember going in and saying it was just a normal checkup. And
Mhm.
telling her, "My periods are terrible. They hurt. It's not like they used to be. I'm super tired.
Mhm.
Can I just get some blood work just to kind of see where I'm at?" And she's like, "Well, you're at that age. I'm
Ugh.
sure we'll give you a blood panel, but
Mhm.
you're healthy. It's just this is what you have to deal with at, your age." And I'm kind of rolled my eyes and I said, "Whatever, can I just get a blood panel? Because that's really what I wanted."
Yeah.
Well, my blood panel was literally my lipids, the AC1, and just like heart stuff. It was nothing to do with hormones, and I specifically asked her for that. And then when I
Yeah.
asked her back, asked her for it again, she said I didn't need it.
Mhm.
What do you mean I didn't need it? Like I want to know what my testosterone level is like because
Yeah.
as an athlete, I can tell that I don't have a lot of it. That's 100%
Mhm.
not building the muscle that that I could have been building back in my 20s.
Yeah.
And so I get my panel back, my cholesterol sky high, like literally it was like 270, I want to say, something like.
Huh.
And LDL is very hereditary in my family, so that was really high. And there wasn't any follow up. So I had to follow up with her going, so my cholesterol's super high. And she's like, yeah, just change your diet. Well, what else am I supposed to change? Because I
You've
don't know
already made those
anything.
changes.
And if
Yeah.
LDL is high anyways, because it's hereditary, like that was it. And so that's when I really, going through it. So when we talk about these myths, like your friend, they gave her medication for antidepressant or
Yeah.
stress because
Anxiety.
that's what they say it is, instead of really paying attention to like
Yeah.
what it is.
I mean, the things that so many women go through, I mean, obviously, I haven't gone through every single one of the issues that come with perimenopause and menopause, but I mean, the brain fog for me is a really big one. And memory. I used to pride myself on thinking that I had a very good memory. And just, I mean, sometimes I'm just like, I walk into a room and go, what the freaking heck am I even here for? What
I'm
did
gonna
I do?
walk right back out and come back in.
Retrace your steps. Okay, let's backtrack a little bit and think about what you were talking about. But yeah, the memory and the brain fog, the fog of just like feeling depleted and just not having enough energy mentally
Well,
and being,
I'll
yeah,
just say my brain fog is my brain injury, my
yeah,
traumatic brain injury that I had.
yep.
I didn't have one.
I'm
I had a concussion.
still bad, but still,
They did
I
diagnose
don't
me
have
with
that excuse.
what was it? Post concussion syndrome or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, whatever. So now anytime I forget something, I just tell Larry, hi, it's my brain injury.
It's your brain injury. I need to, I need to do something so that I can have that. Have an
Right.
excuse. But no, and my body's just changing and I'm just getting older and I'm starting to go through perimenopause. Oh, yippee yay.
Yeah. So
No good excuse.
let's talk about our myths. So we talked about the stress that your doctor said
Mhm.
she was under.
Yeah.
Some of the other myths are if your periods are irregular, you're not in perimenopause yet. Well, that's not true because my periods are regular, like every
Mhm.
28 freaking days to the dot.
Well, my period was never regular, not even when I was younger, so I couldn't even use that as an excuse.
Right.
Like, my period was so irregular that I didn't think anything was wrong because it was always I never knew. I mean,
Right.
I could have 2 a month. It was all over the place, and they never thought that anything was wrong with me. It was just my body, and my situation is just awful.
And irregular cycles are a hallmark of perimenopause and often one of the earliest signs, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that's a sign or not a sign.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like the biggest myth that we should talk about really quickly is the whole thing with the FDA recently and the breast cancer issue that back when did that start? I don't even know. Was it the 80s or the 90s where they said that hormones were so bad for women and women shouldn't go on them because they cause breast cancer. So no one wanted to take the drugs that would help you go through perimenopause and menopause. And I mean, if you thought you had a risk of breast cancer, would you have gone on it?
No.
Like, yeah,
Never
and
said.
then all of a sudden they take it off because it wasn't true, which is so crazy. So many years of people not getting the help and that they needed, that they could have had a better, older adult life for women. And now it's just like, it's crazy. I mean, I had a person in my life ask me if I had any extra patches I would sell them because they couldn't get theirs. And no, it's true. It's like scary. It's like, what would you do if you didn't have your patch? It's like an addiction. Like for me, holy cow, as soon as you take one off, you have to put one back on. There's no way I'm risking my
Right.
patch on.
Because you feel back to normal. Like we're not the crazy people think the doctors say that we are.
Absolutely. It's the feeling of just being normal.
Yeah.
I being so regimented on making sure that I'm taking because I'm on progesterone and the estrogen patch, and before I was on the estrogen cream and got switched over to the patch.
Weren't you on DA?
I was for a very short time at the very beginning, and then once I was diagnosed with all the stuff that was going on, they wanted to take me off of that because of surgery and the growth issues, and they didn't think that that was something that I needed at the
Got it.
moment.
Right.
Yeah.
So I ended up we have a lot of people who I work with who typically, 99% of them are all the guys that do it, but they all started taking hormone replacement therapy for themselves because guys
Mhm.
can do it too.
Yeah.
They would There's a bunch of places out in California you can actually go see doctors, but it's just so, so expensive. And they do a full blood panel because insurance doesn't necessarily cover certain blood
Mhm.
panels. Sometimes, depending on your insurance, they might pay for it, but
Yeah.
ideally, you're out of pocket for that. And they do a total blood panel with everything. And then
Mhm.
they were on their hormone growth. Oh my gosh, I can't think of the name of it. HGC is what it's called, and TRT and all of these other things. But for guys, it's different than us because the guys that were taking it at work were the ones that are bodybuilders
I was
or,
gonna say muscle, yeah, they're the ones that are
and that changes your personality sometimes. Like it
mm,
makes you a little angry
yeah.
and then there's guys that are not taking that type of dosage, but are taking other things and their testosterone at 39 years old, 38 years old
Ugh,
was really, really low. And now it's bumped back up.
yeah,
Think when we as women think about testosterone, we're like, oh my gosh, those fitness competitors who have those deep voices,
absolutely.
right? And I'm like, I don't really want to do that. Like, there's no study. So one of the guy's wives, we had talked about the different things about HRT and
Mhm.
tired and getting older. And so her husband finally got her to start with a doctor's appointment and going through, and she got her blood panel back and started with testosterone shots.
Mhm.
I knew she started it, but I hadn't talked to her in probably like 6 or 7 months, and when I talked to her, her voice wasn't different. That is the
Mhm.
biggest thing for me.
Mhm.
She was talking about how much better she was and that the weight gain that she had gained
Yeah.
came off and, all these different things. So I'm like, well, my doctor isn't gonna budge on that, so now I have to go and look for different things. And being within the fitness aspect of all the stuff that I do,
Mhm.
I found, oh my gosh,
Did you go through
a telehealth company now, I can't even think of it.
yeah, did you go through MIDI? There's so many new ones
No,
that
no, no, no. This
come
one
out
was a little
now.
different because this was through a lot of competitors that I knew that I
Mhm.
trusted. And so I had called, did my, intake, and they talked about this is how a telehealth works is that you pay out of pocket for your blood work, which it was $199. It's not bad at all for the full panel.
Mhm.
And I really
Yeah,
don't know
for
what a full
sure.
panel is at this time because I've only gotten just a couple little things.
Yeah.
And then that blood work gets sent back to the doctor. The doctor reviews it and then goes over it with our case person, I guess.
Mhm.
And then they call us and they go over every single line. So they schedule like a 15 to 20-minute phone call with you. So when I get my blood work, I'm looking and things are highlighted in red when it's a very concerning thing. And like half
Mhm.
of my shit was highlighted in red.
Goodness.
And I'm looking at the testosterone level. Normal, they say, is anywhere from the range of 10 to 50 for women. And I'm like, that's
Mhm.
pretty low. Mine was
Yeah.
25. And I'm like, well, there you go. I already
Yeah.
knew because at 25, with the level of 25 and working out as hard as I do, that is why I wasn't seeing the results.
Yeah.
Cholesterol was still super high. Progesterone was still low. My estrogen was off balance. By the time I had this phone meeting with I'll call her caseworker. I forget what the title is.
Yeah.
She spent almost over an hour with me on the phone, line by line, explaining every little detail of that panel. I've never had such a thing.
Yeah.
My cholesterol is high and isn't budging is because my estrogen and progesterone are so imbalanced. You need some of that balance in order to help it.
100%. Mhm.
And I was like, well, how come my doctor doesn't tell me that? Oh, wait, she didn't do a hormone panel. And then there was a couple other red flag things. So they started me I chose the shot because it was easy. It's once a
Yeah.
week. And I chose it. I didn't want to wear a patch and all that stuff.
Mhm.
So I got 1 shot a week of progesterone. I'm sorry, testosterone,
Estrogen?
testosterone. And then she
Testosterone,
gave me
okay.
progesterone because she says that that'll balance out whatever because my estrogen wasn't terrible, but it was imbalanced. And then the DHEA pill. So I was taking 2 pills and a shot a week. So I got all that. I had to have a blood work every 4 months. Larry started it too. Everything was pretty good for him. All his blood work came back pretty good. So he just did stuff to kind of enhance certain little things in his blood work.
Yeah.
So we both got a secondary blood work 4 months later. And then Larry's hormones and all the things were pretty balanced. So then they went, okay, we don't need to do it you don't have to pay $200 every 4 months. We can
Mhm.
go longer. With
Yeah.
me, things were working. So I went from a testosterone level of 27 to 100. I was feeling amazing. Sleep was great. Energy was high. The weight that I had gained came off.
Yeah.
And I just felt overall better that first
Mhm.
4 months. They redid my blood and my testosterone level was at 130, which isn't terrible. I think if you get to
Mhm.
250s and more, that's the voice starts changing.
Yeah.
So she lowered my dose even more, and my cholesterol actually went down a lot without taking cholesterol medication.
Yeah.
Proof that everything was imbalanced. So for me, it's just taking time. They're just adjusting all of my medication to make sure that everything starts like some stuff comes down and some stuff is elevated because it's just they got to get the right dosage for me, but everything
Yeah.
is working. And libido, holy moly,
I'm telling you. I mean, you were the one that told me. So
holy moly.
probably the worst time in my life to have a sex drive.
Yeah, really?
Or maybe the best. Who knows?
Stay away from Tinder.
Yeah, no, that is not gonna happen. But, with for me, when they put me on the cream and a progesterone pill and the when I saw my new specialist doctor, when I started having all of the issues with my uterus, they changed all of my medication. And for me, it was covered all through insurance. And then they're just gonna monitor me on the new patch and the pill because they upped the dosage of my estrogen and my progesterone, took me off the DHEA and testosterone. And now that I've had surgery and they've upped my dosage, now I'm just being monitored to see now that I don't have a uterus.
Well, speaking of that, let's talk about your hysterectomy for a sec.
Mhm.
Go on after that.
I feel great. I feel wonderful. And I don't want to rub it in at all or
I
anything,
know.
but
Shut up.
I gave all my tampons away.
I don't want to keep them.
I wasn't even sure, like knowing I didn't have a uterus and knowing I didn't have a reproductive system, but still thinking that it was still going to happen because it's something I've dealt with for 48 years, knowing that I couldn't physically have a period any longer, but just waiting for the day of when my app told me I was going to be starting and then started telling me, oh, you're late, you're late. And I was like, this has been amazing. And I also don't suffer from all of the pre stuff. The week before, feeling, the tired, the aches, the irritability, the over like needing to snack and needing to eat with no like end of like getting satisfaction of being full. None of that happened. So I feel like now that this is out of my body, that I'm a new person.
I know that hearing from other women having that hysterectomy because it's taking up part of your womanhood. Did you have any problems when they had mentioned that that was a possibility that they were going to have to do? Did you have any of those moments like, oh no, I don't want to lose that?
Since I've dealt with so many issues with my reproductive system my whole entire life, about because I also suffered from endometriosis and PCOS, along with all of those, the fibroid issues and stuff like that. And with PCOS, I experienced years and years and years ago, I had a cyst on my ovary that burst and hit one of my blood vessels, and I had internal bleeding and had to be rushed to the hospital for emergency surgery. And so after that, and I had other things that had happened. I've had appendicitis, I've had hernias, just all of these surgeries that have dealt with my, reproductive system in that area. I think for me, when somebody said, you know what, Nancy, and I think the best thing for you is to have a hysterectomy, I was like, okay, when can we do it? When can we schedule it? Can we do it next week? Because I was just tired of dealing with the pain and suffering of my reproductive system that it brought me. I don't know for all the women out there who suffer from PCOS, which is another situation that just actually changed the terminology of it after so many years. It's like PMOS or something now to kind of encompass so much more. But the pain that you suffer from PCOS in having a cyst burst, there's nothing they can do for you. They'll give you pain meds. I've been rushed to the emergency room. I've done MRIs. I've done CAT scans. It's been like, nope, there's nothing. I mean, unfortunately, it's just what your system does. So I've been dealing with this kind of crap my whole entire life since I was able to get a period, which was what, fifth grade, because I was an early bloomer. So I was gung ho. I do have friends though that have said that they don't want to get one done because they don't think that they'll be a woman afterwards.
That's what I've heard too.
And I feel I have a friend who has fibroids and who continues to have fibroids. She's changed her whole diet every single time she gets more. She has shrunk some fibroids in the past with her eating habits, but she doesn't want to do that. That's not something that's going to happen for her. But for me, I want to have the next 50 years of my life after everything that I've gone through. I want to have this best life. And I feel like that was going to help me.
And how many fibroids did they remove from you?
I think they did 15 to 18. I can't remember. I have all the measurements and everything in my system. Yeah, my uterus, what was it? A normal uterus weighs 50 grams and mine weighed 1100. grams. So my life has changed. My stomach is squishy now instead of hard. My doctor said that I was measuring 22 weeks pregnant when I first saw him. And the pain that comes with that and the weirdness and the growths, it's just, I know you've suffered from things like that in the past yourself. So you know what I'm talking about. But to be able to have to just not have to worry about periods, cramping, pain, the headaches, all of that kind of stuff. And now I'm being monitored. And if anything were to change with my perimenopause symptoms, I can go to my specialist because I've had such great doctors and such amazing insurance after my divorce that I am being taken care of like amazingly. Like all of my things are covered by my insurance, all of my medications.
And it's crazy because we have the same
We have the same.
medical.
Yep.
So it just goes to show you that there are people that care a lot
Yep.
and really want to look into it, and people who are just doing the job to do the job.
Well, I definitely feel like I got blessed
Yes.
immensely for how quickly it worked because what was that? It was like, you told me to go to urgent care.
I'm
I
still
went to
patting
urgent
myself on
care.
the back for that, by the way.
Yes, you should because it all happened so fast. I was in my car. You told me to go to urgent care that night. I went to urgent care that night. 2 days later, I had my first appointment with my specialist, OBGYN. And from there on, my medication was changed instantly that day. My HRT was changed that day. And then from there, I went to another specialist and had MRIs, had all the testing done, everything. It went so fast. And now I'm 6 months later and I don't have a uterus anymore.
I'm glad you're healthy now.
I did. But you know what? I will talk, I want to mention this really fast that I did actually keep my ovaries. And even as a sufferer of PCOS, keeping my ovaries, I know people are probably like, what the heck? Why did you do that? And this is another thing that my doctor had a conversation with me about that I would be dealing with PCOS in perimenopause for maybe another 2 years of my life because PCOS would be gone once you start menopause. So I might still be dealing with the symptoms of PCOS, keeping my ovaries for another 2 years, but keeping my ovaries for the health benefits for my heart and for my bones and for all of the things that it's going to give me for the next 7 to 10 years of keeping those ovaries was outweighed the negatives of PCOS. And I would never have known that if my doctor hadn't mentioned it to me. Because it was very flippant when she said to me, hey, do you want to keep your ovaries, even though you have PCOS? And I was like, well, wouldn't you take those out since I have PCOS? And that's a cause of so many of my problems. And she said, well, listen, going into menopause, you're not going to have those symptoms anymore. It's not going to be existent. So that's maybe 2 years of maybe randomly a couple of issues. And I was like, well, heck yes. If it's going to help my heart, it's going to help my bones, all the things that I thought were going to be problems getting older. I'm definitely going to keep my ovaries. So I did keep something. I
Now,
do have some.
since you're not having a period, you have to wait 12 months for them to consider you in menopause?
I mean, that's what they've said, but I just put it on my forehead that, yeah, you basically thrust into menopause once your reproductive system is
Well,
is
I'm not
out.
going to call you that until you haven't had a period for 12 months. It's only been
I
1 week.
know. I know you are, but it's okay. I'll still remind you every month that I don't get my period and you can flip me off if you want every single time. But it is freeing. It's very freeing.
Good.
So Jen, how are you doing with your situation that you're going through with PRP and everything? Can you explain that a little bit to us?
Well, I'm not a doctor, but I'm going to try.
You can pretend to be one on our podcast.
So I was in a car accident in December. And if you know me, I had a Jeep that I absolutely loved.
She was pretty.
I know, she was. Lifted. She was just pretty. And honestly, it was my dream car. But anyways, I was stopped at a red light right by a school. Like literally that intersection was the school. And it was at 9:30 in the morning. No traffic. All of a sudden, actually, I'm on the phone with Larry. And so I'm not paying attention to the rear mirror. I'm just waiting for the light to change. And the next thing you know, I probably said some funny choice words because Larry has said that I had some not so nice words come out of my mouth. And I hear this loud bang. I smacked the back of my head on the headrest. And that's what I remember hurting like right away. And I didn't even think that I was in the middle of the intersection, but I just kind of coasted and I knew to turn the steering wheel so that I would at least end on a curb somewhere so I wasn't blocking traffic. Don't ask me why I knew how to do that. I just did.
Mm-hmm.
And it took me a couple seconds to realize that I had just got hit. So I was literally the first car at the limit line or the crosswalk. Nobody else was there. I went through the intersection on a red light. Thank God no other cars were coming.
Or people. Yeah.
Well, I would have killed a kid.
Yeah.
And I sat there for a second and I look in my rearview window or mirror and I go, okay, well, I don't see the driver of that car. Are you kidding me? Is this a hit and run? I was like getting pissed.
Yeah.
She had a minivan. It was all smashed up. And as I get out of the car, I see the driver get out of her car. So I was like, oh, she didn't run. And then here comes this young girl. And she's like, oh my God, are you okay? And I was like, oh, how sweet. This student is checking on me.
Yeah.
No, she just got hit by that same lady about 3 miles down the road. So they were following her. She was following her to go get her insurance or whatever. So anyways,
Seriously, the craziest situation. I don't even know.
my Jeep was totaled and I was really sad about that. But with that, I had 4 MRIs and I ended up having some bulging disc, whiplash, all kinds of stuff. So they sent me to a pain management doctor and I originally got a PRP treatment in my neck the first time. I've had one before on my foot and it was amazing. It worked. So what they do, they pull your blood out of your system and they take it and they put it into this machine, they spin it and they remove all of the good, like we'll just call them antibodies because I don't know what the medical term is. They remove that from your good blood or from the blood and then they go and inject that into the injured area to help it heal. It doesn't always work on everybody, but when my foot, they actually put me under because they gave me, I had 30 needles that they use. So he was like, I'm not doing this while you're up. So when I had the opportunity to get another one, I was like, yeah, it worked the first time. Let's see if it works. So the neck one had lidocaine, which burned. And then they put in the blood or re-entered my own blood. And I think after like the first week, I started noticing a difference because I had a constant ache. It just was uncomfortable. It was like you had a knot up and down my neck. It finally just started to ease and go away. And my range of motion became really, really good. And then after it's been 2 months, it's been great. No issues.
Yeah.
So I went back in yesterday for my lower back. And let me tell you, I was really nervous because if you've had an epidural before, thank God the needles are not that big.
Yeah.
So
Jeez Louise.
I was like laying down, like I just got nervous, like really, really nervous because of the needles we're going to go into the back. And I remember reading on the form that there was 2 spots they were going to do it in. So he had to inject the lidocaine in 2 different spots on my right side. And then my right side is a lot more tender anyway, so I jump a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I could start feeling it numbing, and you can tell he was like poking to make sure I was all numbed up. And then he put my own blood back in, and then we went to the left side, and I was like, oh God, we got to do this again.
Oh my gosh.
But I think because half of my back was already numb, the lidocaine on the other side wasn't as bad, and because that's the worst.
Didn't hurt as bad.
It stings so bad.
You can feel it. You can feel it go into your system.
Again on the left side, and that was the end of it. So when I got up the first time from my neck one, I was like a bobblehead because it was numb. And so I almost fell twice.
Oh my gosh.
When I got it from my back, I was fine. Like there wasn't any issues. I think on the drive home, the lidocaine started to wear off a little bit. So the numbness that I always got down my butt, it was coming back again. And then I was just really tired when I got home, probably just from the stress of it all.
Yeah, I wasn't sure I was going to hear from you again after the last time.
And
I'm going to take a nap. I should think she's going to sleep.
Yeah. And then I just relaxed. So basically, he says no strenuous activity for 7 days. I could slowly kind of go back to certain things, but I'll be light duty with work because of everything I have to wear.
Yeah.
And I don't want to risk hurting the back. So it'll probably take a good 2 months or so for me to get full effect of it. So I'm super hopeful because it's worked in the past. And I swear by these PRP treatments.
Yeah. Well, now, you're getting some type of relief with it, which is what you're looking for.
And it's my own bodily fluids, basically. So I don't have to stop any of my HRT treatments or anything. I just can't take anti-inflammatories for a week.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
Well, no, you'll
good.
be feeling better.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Okay, that's our blend for today. Messy, honest, and medically questionable in the best way. And don't forget, we are not doctors. We play them on TV only.
On our podcast only. If you like this episode, subscribe, leave a review, and tell us your own medical head scratchers. We love those. We live for them, and we can't wait for your questions or your information that you're going to want to know from us more for the next time, because we'd love to hear from you guys.
Follow us on all social platforms. We're on everything. I don't think we're on TikTok yet, but maybe we should start a TikTok.
We need TikTok. We'll start going live on TikTok. That's what we need to do.
Yeah. So yes, follow us on all the socials at The Bestie Blend.
But we're not doctors, obviously, like you said, Jennifer. But listen, if you're having any of these kind of symptoms or any of these kind of issues that we've talked about today, definitely reach out to your healthcare provider for medical advice. We'll see you next time.
See you next time. Same blend, new chaos.
Absolutely. Bye, bestie.
Bye, bestie.